Basically, the boy crisis resides where dads do not reside.
My guest today is Dr. Warren Farrell, who is a New York Times best-selling author, written many different books. He's been on many different TV shows, wrote a book called The Myth of Male Power, as well as The Boy Crisis.
The government became a substitute husband when it started to make laws saying that if a woman didn't have a man that she was living with or was not married to a man, that she could get money from the government. And so the woman felt that the best way to protect her children was to not have the father around. But it turned out that was the worst way to protect her children, because the children without a dad are most vulnerable. Now, we've known this since 1965, when the Moynihan report came out. What came out was a very different report than many people expected. That crimes were created by those people in the inner city who were being raised without dads. And that at the time, in 1965, was 25% of the males in the inner city. Among Black families, 25% of the children were being raised without their dads in 1965. Today, the percentage is more than 70% among Black males. Among Caucasian males at the 1965, it was only 3.2% of Caucasian males that were being raised without their dads. Today, it is 35% of Caucasian males being raised without their dads. So the Caucasian males being raised without their dads today is higher than it was for Black males in 1965. And we're seeing a huge amount of dysfunction among both Black males and Caucasian males today, and much more among Caucasian males than we were seeing among Black males in the 1960s, in the mid-60s.
Do we know why?
Yes, because the lack of father involvement leads many boys to feel they don't usually have postponed gratification. And as most people know, postponed gratification is the single biggest predictor of success or failure. So the boy without postponed gratification goes to school, has homework to finish, but is much more likely to get sidetracked by an invitation from a friend to play a video game. And so, or he has a real great potential as a basketball or football player, or as an actor, or as a musician, but he doesn't have the discipline to become one of the best actors, musicians, basketball players. So other kids beat him out that are even less talented than he is for that role. And he begins to feel ashamed of himself and sometimes depressed. And again, no girls are interested in the losers. They're interested in the winners. And so he starts turning in on himself and becoming withdrawn. And his only friends are the online friends. And he doesn't have real friends that will help him move or do something when it really counts. And so this leads to depression, and in the worst case scenarios, the increase in suicides. And a lot of that comes from not having a dad that is there to guide him, to help him take risks, to help him be disciplined at doing what he wants to do. Moms are very good at helping their children, both girls and boys, identify their talents and pursue them. But very frequently, the children without a dad does not have the discipline to successfully become outstanding at the most fulfilling things. If you want to be an engineer, or you need that discipline. But also, if you want to be an artist or writer or musician, if you want to ever make a living at it, or a basketball player and join the NBA, you've got to be extremely disciplined.
What is the number between fatherless boys and motherless boys? Is it a 98-2, like the boys that are raised without a mother? How small of a percentage is that? Well, we don't even have a lot of data on it.
It's about a 9-to-1 ratio.
9-to-1 ratio, okay.
And so the boy crisis resides among those boys who have minimal or no contact with the dad, and they've had that contact for the first few years, but then they feel abandoned and lost by that dad. And boys, the girls at least have the role model of a mother as to what it is to be a female. But the boys don't have the role model of a father, or if they have a role model of a father, that father, after the mother and father break up, or that father is often bad-mouthed by the mother. He's very narcissistic. That's why we broke up. He's very self-centered, and he's not reliable. And the boy begins to look in the mirror and worry that maybe he's looking in the mirror because he's a narcissist, or he remembers lying to a friend of his, or he remembers being unreliable in this way or that way. And he begins to fear that the qualities that the father is being being condemned for that led to the breakup of the mother and father are also qualities that he has, but he can't talk to the father about that because that'll only destabilize the relationship when the father and mother have a fight, and therefore those boys and the daughters of these divorced families are far more likely to have divorces themselves and bad communication methods as they grow up.